Before I introduce myself, I'd like to ask you to close your eyes for a moment. Imagine yourself applying for a job, looking for a job, say, a position of Director of Operations, and you stumble upon a listing that says, "We're looking for a new COO, but really is so much more than that. We're looking for an associate to our new CEO who needs a hand." Ideal candidates have expertise that is interdisciplinary, ideally a combination of medicine, finance, law, psychology, and social studies. Flexibility is absolutely necessary. We need you to be on call 24/7, including holidays, where the work actually increases. It is unpaid, but the fulfillment you get out of the role should cover for it. Open your eyes now. Would you take that job? Most wouldn't. Yet, hundreds of millions do. They are mothers. Each mom turns into a COO once the new CEO arrives, with no user manual, no vacation, and often little recognition. And as moms try to navigate and balance the new roles, it can feel a little overwhelming, like you're trying to cross an ocean on a bike. My name is Lucie, and I'm a mom of two. When my daughter was born in the summer of 2020, the world stopped. Not only my world, because the world with a newborn and time flows differently, but the actual world, because it was mid-pandemic. Before kids, I had the classic overachieving millennial life, a high-powered digital marketing job, weekend exploring and socializing, and I did those run races when you run up a hill just for the fun of it. And then suddenly, I found myself in a cold January, dark COVID Warsaw, where we had moved for my husband's work, with no local friends, full swing social distancing, just me and the baby. On a positive note, I managed to walk well past the 10,000 steps a day threshold. And that is when I realized how much of my identity was linked to working, to doing something I'm good at, to creating something each day beyond diapers. And I was lucky, a friend of mine, Christina, a superhero mom of twins herself, felt the same. We both wanted to stay engaged while caring for our growing families. And we quickly realized we were not alone. So we co-founded a platform that helps restless moms like us find project-based flexible work. Fast forward 3 years, we have published the largest ever study done on Czech parents and their preferred ways of working, with more than 10,000 respondents. We are now in talks with parents, employers, and government officials to chip away at the cost of balancing family and career. It is called the Motherhood penalty. It is a price women pay for staying in the workforce and growing their families at the same time. Why should you care, you may ask, and why does it even happen? I want to ask for a raise of hands now. Raise your hand if you are a mom yourself, please. Thank you. Add yours if you are a dad. Join in if you are a friend, a sister, a cousin, or a neighbor of a mother. Join the party if you are a colleague, a teammate, or a classmate of a mom. And next, please add yours if you lead a team where there is a mother. Now look around. Almost all hands are up. And that is exactly why motherhood penalty is everybody's business. And it is an especially important topic in the Czech Republic. There are 3 main reasons why Czech Republic is ranking as one of the worst countries in the European Union when it comes to motherhood penalty. First is we have prolonged parental leave. Staying at home for 3 years per child is the standard here. That's 6 years out of work if you have 2 kids like me. And with just 2% of dads taking parental leave, we know it is the moms who disappear from the workforce and social life too. 8 out of 10 Czech moms report feeling lonely and disconnected. Second reason is rigid work structures. Czechia ranks as one of the lowest part-time job ratios in the EU, with just 6% of jobs being part-time. And the third reason is we have a very low unemployment at just 2%. So this all adds up to the fact that despite the lack of workers, there's little flexibility offered to parents who need it, leaving skilled people on the sidelines. And as a silver lining through those three areas, there's our culture. Culture that insists that a child needs to stay at home for 3 years with their mom. And there's the reason why many consider this very long parental leave, actually the longest in the world, as the best in the world. Such narrative is spread by general public as well as popular figures, despite, surprise, no data backing it. The research actually shows the contrary. Multiple longitudinal studies have proven that children benefit both socially and cognitively from early integration into collective care, and mothers definitely benefit from having a choice. Yet, many moms face backlash for just considering work or daycare. I, for example, was advised to put, quote, my brats up for adoption if I cannot sacrifice myself for a couple of years. Now, it's a good place for a very important disclaimer. This is not to say that all parents of small children should and have to work as soon as possible. This is to talk about a choice. This is to illustrate that motherhood profoundly limits your options and choices of staying in touch with your level of expertise, even if you really wish to do so. Now, knowing the Czech context, imagine you are a mom who is considering coming back to work. Here is what's likely on your mind. Do I have the right skills? Am I going to manage the hours? Is it worth my time? And fourth, where is it gonna take me? Those 4 questions are valid whenever you're looking for a job. What differs are the answers you get once you are a mom. Regarding the question, do I have the right skills? Czech universities nowadays have more female graduates than male. Yet, we are happy to bench their talents for 3 to 6 years and watch from the distance. 9 out of 10 Czech mothers with kids under the age of 4 would like to work somehow, yet only every other manages to do so. Imagine half of your female friends just disappearing once they have children. And regarding the skills itself, there's the challenge, because nowadays the general skills have half-time of 5 years. Technical skills is even less, it's 3 years. So in 3 years' time, which is by coincidence exactly the length of parental leave in the Czech Republic, in 3 years you lose half of your skills. In some industries, like in digital marketing, it hurts more than in others. But it is generally common that mothers feel like they are the 70-year-old aunt at a tech conference, trying to keep up with the technologies as your confidence plummets. Second question you ask yourself is, am I going to manage the hours? It is often joked that having a baby is like having a PhD in multitasking. Fewer options of part-time work in the Czech Republic means mothers really struggle to find roles that would fit their schedule. And with just 6% of part-time jobs, looking for one that is relevant to your skills is really like looking for a needle in the haystack. From our data, we know that mothers of small children would like to work for, on average, 12 to 15 hours a week. That's a day and a half a week, right? You'd say that's not too much. Yet, more than half doesn't have any regular childcare. So they are trying to find sitters and family whenever they can fit in. For me, my daughter is 4, my son is almost 2. Squeezing in 15 hours of work a week means a combination of privately paid childcare, a babysitter, engaging a grandma who lives out of town, taking turns with my husband at bedtimes, and using naps as work slots. A day has 24 hours. That's 168 hours a week. And of those, Czech women spend 6.5 hours more than men on household-related tasks, such as laundry, grocery shopping, and making sure there's enough toilet paper. That's a full workday every week spent on invisible labor. Such traditional division of roles adds an extra layer of complexity for the Czech women and makes them feel more stressed and more stretched out. It's also one of the reasons why mothers are one of the most endangered groups when it comes to burnout and depression. Another question you may ask is, how much is it going to get me? Is it worth my time? Imagine you're at a pizza party and everybody's getting slices. The guys are getting those big cheesy slices with all the toppings. And you, if you are a woman, are also getting a slice, don't you worry. But it's somehow smaller. And maybe they've forgotten some of the toppings. You ask, hey, what gives? Why is my slice smaller? And they go, oh, don't worry, you're doing great with that slice. And we kind of thought you might be already full from all the other things you already have on your plate. And you say, oh, thank you, but I'm pretty sure I can manage a pizza slice. And they go, yeah, we're working on it. Maybe next pizza party. But hey, look, we sprinkled yours with a little bit of extra exposure. Don't you love it? Our national pay gap, the pizza gap, the pay gap is just that. Women are working just as hard, if not harder than men, yet our slice of the salary pie is somehow smaller. We get less pizza, but we have the same hunger for fairness. And when you're doing a job, you need to get paid, and paid fairly. Our national pay gap is 18%, and it is not consistent across all age groups. When looking at the group of 35 to 39 years, when mothers are most likely to bounce back after having kids, the pay gap is staggering 32%. That's a third of a salary difference. One mom shared her story with us. After 5 years on parental leave, she came back to her former employer. She was happy she could find a job that would fit her schedule, but after a few months she learned her peer colleague, a male colleague who stayed in the workforce, was earning 40% more than her. So, after getting some courage, she approached her manager about it. Her salary was leveled up, but only after she asked for equality. And this gap isn't just personal, it's systematic. In Czech Republic, only 17% of leadership positions are held by women. And it is obvious that something needs to be done, because this is true whenever you're looking for a private sector, public sphere, and especially into politics. Why is it that in elementary education, there are 83% of teachers female, but only 41% of headmasters? To be fair, it is rarely a one-woman job, one-woman show. An entry-level manager we know was given a helping hand when she voiced her wish to come back fairly quickly after her daughter was born. Being supported and trusted by both her husband and her boss, she is now managing director of one of the most prominent Czech consultancies. She has 2 adult daughters, a happy marriage, and just celebrated 25 years at the company. For a current generation of moms, the career advancements can feel like you're participating in a Formula 1 race. And after starting at the starting line and a few laps, you get to the pit stop. But instead of getting your tires changed, you're getting a tricycle and a pat on your shoulder while the guys race off. So, what can we do about it? How do we make sure the moms stay up in the race? There's a few quite simple but very powerful steps each one of us can do to reduce the motherhood penalty one day at a time. And if I want to have one key takeaway message, it is this: don't assume and use your voice. To the mothers in the room, speak up about what you need, about what you want, whether it is to stay working, whether it is to take time off, focus on your personal project. There's no right or wrong answer. Let your partner, friends, and boss know so that they can have your back. To the dads, please ask your partner what he needs and be ready to compromise on things such as shared parental leave, regular daddy days, or just ordering as a cleaning service. The options are endless, and small shift can make a huge difference. To those friends and siblings of moms, be a cheerleader she needs. If you have a spare 60 minutes, an hour of your time, offer it to her and maybe take the baby out in a stroller. You have no idea how powerful can those 60 minutes be, whether she would use it for catching up on a book, doing an online course, or just finishing her coffee while it's still warm. And if you are a boss or a team leader, next time a colleague of yours goes on maternity, please don't let her become out of sight, out of mind. Reach out, keep in touch, and offer her flexibility when she wishes to come back. and when she does, make sure her salary is fair. Even though some of the numbers may not have been exactly optimistic, I want to end on a positive note, with a shimmer of hope, if you wish. The world has tremendously improved. The history of human society comes back thousands of years, yet in the last century or so alone, we have seen a monumental change for women. For getting rights to vote at the dawn of 20th century, to access to education, to freedom of choice. Just in 1900, female athletes were allowed to compete at the Olympic Games. And only 90 years ago, in 1934, the first woman ever sat on the board of directors. And look at the world now. With more data and more awareness being shed on the topic of balancing motherhood or parenthood and work, I am hopeful. And I hope my voice helps in creating more options for future moms who want to balance the care and career. And that one day, when my CEO, my daughter, asks, I hope to answer something like, oh, the motherhood penalty? That's just something from the olden days. Thank you.